but yet you're not concerned about anything else that relates to that.
Whatever it is.
So whatever it is, it becomes a problem then.
That's what I call, I have been developing a theory lately, which I call the myth of being black, or the we black as a myth, because that's why I was saying it just becomes the way the society defines you, or just letting yourself just believe in something that you don't even know what it means. It's like talk about we black people talking about black struggle, while when you think about really how the society is constructed, there is no that we part, it just disappears. When you look at the black neighborhood and just see when people start getting richer, that we black disappears. But when you see people not even working together to lift themselves up, that we black people disappear. So I think we really move from a time where that we black was reality, maybe in the 60s when you had or the Malcolm X calling for black empowerment, to now where it doesn't mean anything. It is close to not meaning anything to be black. But the reason why I actually, in a way, pushed forward that state of questioning your self-sovereignty, because I think that the end goal is, in a way, to be free. It's to free yourself from any ideology or from being in a box. And I think that's a problem where I have with when you, in a way, when you start constructing an identity and define yourself or see yourself through that identity. Because you put yourself in a box, not that being in a box is bad. Maybe it can also be good. Being in a box of love, that's good. But the thing is that I like when you start questioning everything, because you reach at the state where you, in a way, become naked. You become naked, you become a soul. You, in a way, all that body, all that shells just go away. What you become is now a soul, the person who's free, who's really starting to think as a human being at whatever constructed. I think when I talk about being a human being, it doesn't really mean being the same or not having any differences. But being a human being as how you look at the world, as how you define yourself. I mean, being just a human being in itself is an identity. But it's an identity that is not problematic, because it's not a box, it's just free, a state of being free. I think that's what I was going.
Did y'all recognize where this conversation went back? And we went back into a circle, and everything came back to the idea of being educated. You know what I mean? So how would you, or guys, how would you guys determine, how do you know when you're free? You know, what freedom are you talking about? Because free for me means, before, if you'd have caught me about 5-10 years ago, was making a lot of money, free to do whatever I want with my money when I want, and being able to help out a lot of people. Now that I've been educated and I've seen other things, I realized that I don't have to have a lot of money just to be free or to free other people. And so for me, being free is being educated, because if you're ignorant, you're going to stay in that box.
But isn't $10 million help?
Not really. Because if you're ignorant to the fact of the problem in you guys' countries, as far as the starving kids, or even in my country with these urban neighborhoods, these violent urban neighborhoods, if we're ignorant to the fact and we just leave them by themselves with $10 million, and we got $10 million, how can we help those individuals? If we have $10 million and we don't know where to start to use that money, and we don't know where the problem lies, then we probably won't use that $10 million effectively. So therefore, our ignorance, the lack of education with that money, is actually going to make the situation worse. So being free is opening up your mind. You cannot know everything. You cannot know all things, but some things that you have to know, you have to be aware of, and you have to have an open mind when you get presented with new information, because, you know, I would like to end world hunger. I would like to end this violence, and, you know, have this almighty peaceful world. But I would be lying to myself.
That's nice.
All right, guys, we have 10 more minutes.
So just say what you think about freedom really quickly.
So 10 more minutes. Freedom. How do you tell when you're free or not? this is very interesting for me because funny enough, I don't look at it as. I guess the questioning part is very important. This is one thing I like with coming into contact with Ibrahim, because Ibrahim will always ask me now why. I'll say, well, I love this girl. Why? I'll be like, well, she makes me happy. How? Why? Well, she does this and this and this for me. And? Because you start questioning to a point where then I will now say, well, huh. And whatever that huh is, and what you choose to do with that huh, because if you choose to say, you know what, I don't really care, let me just live in my illusion. At least you got to that huh. You know what I'm saying? But you can also say, well, let me back in our office and now re-evaluate what I've been saying and feeling and looking at how my actions are matching my words. Are my actions matching my words? So for example, if I say I care about starving children, but then yet I throw away half a burger because a little bit of it fell on the table. And I'm like, I ain't eating that, so I throw it away in the trash can. How much do I really care about starving children? Or if I dump half my food out into the trash can, knowing that there are many kids who would die, whole families would die to have that kind of food. Do I really care about charging starving children? And maybe if I do that, does it really mean I don't care about starving children? But I think to be free is at a point where you're free to question yourself. And that fear part, you know, you have the fear, but you embrace the fear. You said, let me go for it and question myself. Because you cannot question others until you've questioned yourself first. You're in no position to go to someone else and tell them how they should be living their lives when you haven't questioned yourself to do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? And this is, I guess, where the freedom part of me becomes, where I'm at a way to question. And maybe in a way, I will never be free. Maybe it's a constant struggle, like perfection, because with the minute, it's kind of like faith in a way. People will say, well, I feel good, quote unquote, religious person, different debate for a different day, would be someone who says, you know what? I will never be, I can always be better. I can always serve God better. I'm a sinner. I can always be better. Even though for me, I'm like, well, damn, you don't drink, you don't lie, I mean, you don't do any of those kinds of things. But for themselves, I can still be better. And maybe at the moment where they say, you know what, I've been as well as I can be, is a point where it's not good. I think you stop achieving. So this is what for me what freedom means, that you're keeping on questioning yourself and always having the ability to question and get to that
You just already said what I was exactly gonna say.
That's 3 years I talking to you. That's what it does.
Quickly, my conception of freedom is that it's not an end. Whenever you reach at a point where you say, I'm free, therefore what you're saying is that you're not even free yet. Because the purpose, it's again questioning yourself so much. Freedom is there. I will try always to achieve it. It's there. But the thing is that when you think you're free, therefore you're already creating an ideology for yourself here. I'm free, therefore the decision that I made are in a way the decision based on me being free, therefore they're good decisions. In a way already you're really in that box again. So you're starting from the beginning. So free, it's like that thing you see there that you're always trying to get, but that you not get. Or even if you get it, you ignore it. And then you tell yourself, no, I didn't get it yet. I'm trying to get it all the time. So you keep in a way questioning. But make sure you don't get it. Or at least if you get it, you forget it. Or you ignore it. So it's that process of always asking why, without thinking that there is an end. So no limitation.
You're not trying to get to an end.
Looking at there is no limitation, unlimited questioning. That's really the freedom I see. Because there's nothing that is set.
For me, freedom is like an abstract term. I mean, it's like it's nothing tangible or anything like that. And like freedom, physical freedom, or like freedom, the mental freedom. Because I think the freedom, I mean, comes in very different ways and forms. And someone can be in jail, but their mind will be freed by the fact that they can sit in solitude and reflect on life and even write good books, even make up good songs. So there are those types of freedom where I think, like, and also you have to question like freedom as to what, you know, if I'm free, then, I mean, if I'm not free, what am I? Am I in bondage? Am I in, you know, so if you have to know what it is not to be free in order to define freedom for me.
Okay. See. And know what not to be able to.
And that's why I asked the question.
No, that was a good question. Actually, we didn't think about that question.
And that could be even the next conversation, the start of our next conversation, because I think I'm going to start coming to these.